Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday. Super excited to have you with us today for our weekly episode of Networking at Noon. And I'm so excited to be joined today by Lois Creamer, who is somebody that I met at the National Speakers Association several years ago. I think it's been now.
Yes.
So excited to have you here with us today.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here with you, Tiffany.
Now, so you're a speaker, a fellow speaker, but you also work with speakers. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yes, essentially, I work with speakers to grow their business. I work with speakers who want to get more bookings, make more money, and monetize their message in a number of ways. And started my business 22 years ago, incredibly, Tiffany. I can't believe it's been that long. But I know. I was blonde, though. See, I was blonde when I started.
So I would think 22 years ago, probably the first 20 years, I won't say where they were the same, but speaking's changed quite a bit over the past, not even 2 years than the first 20 years, I would think.
Yeah, we've had different passages kind of that we've gone through. Certainly technology has changed so much. When I started, Tiffany, I was using the latest and greatest. It was email. And so things have transpired really rapidly. But there has been the last 2 years with COVID and the shutdown, a lot of speakers have learned new ways to get into the marketplace. And that's not been a negative thing, quite frankly. I think that I'm always preaching to speakers that you want to be able to make money without getting on a plane. And so this has certainly made us do that, hasn't it?
It has. I remember, I think I started my first webinar in 2017. And while it was like, okay, I was familiar with, I was using Zoom back then. Like nobody knew what it was. And I think
listen, you and I are kindred spirits because I used it for consulting with clients because, I want to be able to see people's body language. If I'm giving you a suggestion and you're holding your nose on the other end of the line, I want to know that. And so I have used it. First, I was using Skype and then used Zoom. So you and I are kindred spirits on this.
So what do you see? I mean, because you work with speakers. So if somebody says, hey, I want to become a speaker, are they looking to be on stage? Is it more of we're going to be in this online realm? I mean, what do you share with people if they're thinking, oh, I might want to be a speaker?
Well, I share that you better be prepared to do on-site work. You better be prepared to do virtual work. And I think that hybrid is going to play a big part in what we do going forward. Associations and large corporations have discovered that they can attract a lot more people to their events if they can offer a virtual option. And so I don't think they're going to be willing to give that up. I was reading just last week, John Hancock, one of the biggest players in financial services in the United States, said that for the foreseeable future, they didn't even put an end date on it, they were going to go virtual. And they said that their employees preferred it. So that's interesting. I don't think that virtual will ever replace in-person meetings, but I think more places are looking to it to add on to what we do. And for us as speakers, consultants, or experts, this is a good thing. It's just another platform we can use.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being in front of the audience live. Let's do the interacting. However, before I couldn't, one day I think I had an event in Australia and then India and then the UK and then Indiana. 4 different engagements in one day that, you can't get on a plane and do that.
That's right. I mean, I spoke to Africa last week from where I'm sitting right now. Tiffany, that is one of the things that I think is so interesting because when you book a live event, you can probably take at least 2.5 days off your calendar. By the time you get there, you get home, you do the event. And as you just said, when you're virtual, you can do a few a day. And I think I think it's hard because I think presenting virtually is not as easy as a lot of people who don't do it may think it is. But I think that you're right. You can be more productive for sure.
Yeah, I actually find that it takes more energy when I'm presenting virtually. And I mean, it takes energy for me anyway. I'm an introvert. So to be up on front of the stage, it is a show, but it definitely takes more energy for me in this virtual world.
Yes.
We can see this much of the audience if we're lucky enough to have it on a meeting setting versus a webinar setting where you don't see people at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're this big.
Yeah. I remember probably about 7 or 8 months ago, I did an event for Professional Speakers Association London. And they used Hopin, which is a great platform. But they used a version of it where the only thing I saw when I was presenting for a half hour was myself. I have to tell you, it was the most off-putting half hour I've ever spent in my life. I couldn't see anyone. You can't hear anyone. I had no idea, Tiffanie, if they were even still there.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. That's the only one I've done like that, mercifully. But I think it's more challenging in many ways. And I think that our market is slow to get that. The people who hire us are slow to get that. But I also think virtual has so many different pluses on it that it can't be ignored, and it won't be ignored in the marketplace.
No, I think the future holds, lots of virtuals, lots of in-person. One day they'll figure out how to do the hybrid events really well. I know they're still kind of working to figure out how to do those as well. But I think, a lot of people are like, yeah, it's a lot easier. And can I bring more people together more frequently on this platform?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I do think that hybrid is going to be a big part, especially on the association side. I think it's going to be a really big player on the National Association side. Corporations, private companies, probably not so much. But I think on the National Association side, speakers and consultants, people who speak in any way, need to be prepared for that.
So you're an author of a book, but specifically, I know you've got Book More Business, Make Money Speaking. So can you tell us a little bit about that book, what it's about, how, and maybe a tip or so from there?
Yeah, this is a book that I waited far too long, Tiffanie, to write. And it's based on a blog that I've been writing for a long time. In fact, when I started the book, I thought this is going to be pretty easy because I have all these blog posts. I'll just compile them and it'll be a book. And then I realized that the blogs that I wrote in 2001 aren't exactly evergreen. So I added lots of stories and examples in the book, but it's really a primer on how to make money speaking. What do you need to do if you want to speak? How do you get started in speaking? And then even if you're a veteran, how do you up-level your game and how do you grow your business? So it's all about sales and marketing. That's my thing. I don't work with anybody who wants to decide what they want to speak on or who doesn't have a speech yet. I'm not presentation skills. I am all about when you have the intellectual property, when you have the speech, I will help you make money with it. And that's what the book is about.
Gotcha. And so, like, where does the person have to be ready? I know you said like they need to have a speech, they need to have an expertise. Like, what needs to be in their tool bag, and why is it important for them to have that before they come to you?
Well, because I don't do anything about content. You've got to tell me what your expertise is. I can't tell you what your expertise is. And I think having a speech, that also is not my expertise. And if the speech is not good, nothing else is going to happen. No residual action will take place. So you've got to have a great speech. And then, I often tell people, Tiffanie, and this sounds really simplistic, but if you want to speak, then you've got to speak. You've got to go out and this, any opportunity you can get to be in front of people, you want to take. And I have a Clubhouse show on Monday nights, and I was just talking about this exact same thing. Really, more important than money when you first begin speaking. And believe me, I like money. More important than money are the testimonials that say, she did what she said she can do. She gave us a great speech. Those are incredibly important because then you can leverage those testimonials into paid engagements. And then I was asked just Monday night, well, how do I ask for money? You know, I've never asked for money. How do I? And I said, you say, I want to be paid X amount of dollars for this money. I mean, really, that's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
You just start to ask for money. And one of the things I always say is you get more comfortable doing it by doing it. It's not unlike speaking in and of itself. But I think once you get some practice with a great speech, and you get some great feedback and some good testimonials, that's something that you can really dive off of into the industry, and you can start asking for money for what you do, and then just keep on going. But I tell people, if you want to speak, you've got to use every opportunity you can. I spoke at every chamber of commerce. I live in St. Louis, in probably 100-mile radius of where I live. When I started, I used to do corporate sales programs, corporate sales teams. I don't do that anymore. But so I went out to every chamber event, every Lions Club, every Elks Club. I called it the animal circuit, Tiffany. I did the animal circuit for testimonials.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I did. This is exactly how I jumped off into the world of paid speaking, by going out and doing a lot of it free. And I say you're probably not going to get any business from doing chambers or clubs like that. I did get a little bit. I tell you, I was surprised. And in fact, one of the first chambers I did, a young man came up to me and said, I'd like you to speak to my sales team. And he asked me what I charge. I didn't know. I hadn't even thought about it, Tiffany. I was, I was too psyched to get a testimonial to even think about money. So,
right.
So be prepared, and the best way to be prepared is by doing it.
Gotcha. Now, you mentioned getting testimonials, and testimonials is one of my big things. I actually just did a whole bunch of videos on YouTube about, the power of testimonials and how to get them.
You have a rockin' YouTube channel. Anybody who hasn't looked at your YouTube or subscribed yet ought to go. You're doing a great job on it.
Lots and lots coming out. And then we're streaming this live too. I love Restream. It makes it so easy, like LinkedIn,
yes,
Facebook, YouTube, all there.
Yep.
How do you recommend for people that are speaking, whether they're brand new or whether they've been around for a while? Because I know sometimes it's easy to get complacent, like I've got great testimonials, so I'm not getting any more, or if I'm just getting started. Like, what are some easy tips that you have for people to get more testimonials?
You just made an excellent point. A lot of times we're really hungry for them at first. And then as we're doing it, we forget to ask or don't bother to ask, whatever it is. I suggest my clients do this. Anytime you speak, within 48 hours, and I think the timing is very important, you do what I call a follow-up thank you call to the person who made the economic decision to bring you in to speak. And you want to say, hey, I just wanted to call and say thanks again for bringing me in. I loved your group. Wanted to make sure the feedback was just as positive as what I heard when I left. If you could put some of that feedback down in an email or as a LinkedIn testimonial, I would be so honored. I want everybody to know that I had the privilege of working with you. And then, you can ask for referrals. If anyone who could use this kind of information, I welcome referrals. I love them. If this is a private group or corporation that you're talking to, you want to say, what associations do you belong to where you think this message would be a fit? Because most corporations and businesses belong to multiple associations. This is the way to get in the association door, by having an advocate as a member of that association as an advocate. So in a follow-up thank you call, it allows you to really leverage, I think, the good feelings and goodwill, the afterglow that's still there. And then it also allows you to say, if you do any consulting or anything else besides speaking, when I did sales, I used to always say, at this point, do you think it would make sense for me to work with your sales managers to actually implement the ideas and tactics I talked about on the platform. Because if you do, we could make that happen. You wouldn't have to bring me in, and we do it like you and I are doing it. So it's a great opportunity to have what you want to ask for. And a testimonial should be one of those things, because we want to keep updating our testimonials, keep adding new ones. Yeah. And I think during a follow-up thank you call is a great way to do it.
Excellent. Love it. Yeah. Testimonials are powerful, but then you can also ask for the referrals. Love it.
Yes. Yep.
Speaking of referrals, this show is sponsored by Asentiv Tampa, where the goal is to get you more referrals so you can have that amazing business and spectacular life. And we've been talking a lot here today about the business side of it, but I'm curious, what do you like to do for fun when you're not working?
There are so many things I like to do for fun. In fact, I'm finding more every day. I love to go to the beach. Any beach with an umbrella drink is my idea of heaven, Tiffany.
What beach are you? Are you near the beach?
No.
I don't know that we covered. Where in the world are you at?
I'm in St. Louis. I am landlocked.
You are farthest away in like the entire country to get to any of the beaches, huh?
Yeah. I manage to get there occasionally. But I love going to the beach. I love walking with my dog, Buddy, the intern, who is my one and only most favored employee. And I like to read. There are lots of things I like to do. I really like to have fun. And this might sound a little nutty. Don't tell anybody I said this. But I really like what I do. I consider what I do to be a lot of fun. And but I do have to get away a lot from this. You get to be you have tunnel vision, and you can sit down and start working. Before you know it, 3 hours have passed by. Then this isn't good. You've got to take some breaks and do something that will recharge your batteries. And believe me, I do plenty of that.
I'm sure Buddy the intern lets you know when you've been sitting too long.
He does. He comes and stares at me. He comes and just stares, and I know it's time to go out. That's a good thing, though. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know when my dog starts like kind of nudging me, I'm like, oh, she wants a play break. And every once in a while I'll be like, oh, and I'm like, you know what? She's 14 years old. If she wants to play, we can play, because she's going to.
Is she really? You have the cutest dog in the world. I've seen pictures on your Facebook page. I think that they remind us when we are in tunnel vision, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing.
So as we begin to wrap up here, I have two questions here that we do at the end. The first is, what is one tip, one thing you want to share with the audience watching to help them have more success in their world?
Well, this is going to seem like very simplistic advice, but it really isn't. One of the things that I always say, Tiffany, is you risk a yes every time you ask for something. Okay? And so ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. If you want to work with that new client, ask for an opportunity to work with them. What do you have to lose is always what I tell my clients. What is the worst case scenario? That they're going to say, no, we don't need you right now.
Right.
But you risk a yes. And lots of times in my own business, taking that risk of asking for a yes has served me incredibly well and has led to some interesting clients and interesting things. So you risk a yes every time you ask for something. Be asking.
Love it. Love it. And we're wrapping up here our networking at noon, talking with Lois, the author of Book More Business, Make Money Speaking. People are watching this and they're like, okay, yeah, I do want to make some money speaking, whether it's more money speaking or they're just starting off wanting to get money speaking. Not that they're just starting off thinking about being a speaker. The National Speakers Association has a Speakers Academy that's got some of the more basic stuff. Toastmasters is great if you need to practice, but if they're ready to make some money or make more money, how can they get in touch with you?
They can email me, Lois at bookmorebusiness.com. They can go to my website, and I'm all over social media. You can find me just about anywhere, and happy to talk to anyone who would like to talk about the business.
Awesome. And then my last question I have for you is, what is your favorite brew? Because we like to talk about brewing up business, so we also have to talk about, what's the favorite brew?
Well, that's a good question. I have really gone crazy this summer with iced coffee. I've got to tell you, I never did it before. But I've kind of gone a little crazy over iced coffee, and sometimes have a little more than I want. That's when my eyes are kind of like that. But iced coffee,
Awesome. Any
it's a thing.
specific kind, or just any iced coffee?
Just any. Starbucks, of course, is an absolutely wonderful place. But really any. I make it myself. I love it.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, Lois, for our networking at noon, talking about how you can make some success in your world speaking. Even if you're not looking to be a speaker, you can be an expert and grow your business by speaking. So thank you so very much for being here.
It's been great being with you. I'm a fan of yours, so I'm really happy to be with you today, Tiffanie.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing y'all next week for our next episode at Networking at Noon. Happy networking, y'all.